Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kayak Fishing Weekly, where we talk tiny plastic boats. And my name is Luis Delgado, and I will be your host tonight. And we're back. Kayak Fishing Weekly is back as a part of the Serious Angler Network. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Thank you for having me. It's my first episode with you, and I'm so excited to be here because today we've got a phenomenal episode. We're going to talk about something fun. We're going to talk about getting off the grid, simplifying and talking about some river fishing kayak with a very special guest. And guys, without further ado, let's bring him on here, my friend and a great angler, Mr. Eric Goodson.
Yes.
Mr. Eric Goodson is joining us tonight. He's going to be our first official guest on the way back. Now, if you followed me for some time, you've probably seen this man all over my social media, or you've seen me on his social media. And this is one of my close friends, but he's not here just because he's my friend. He's here because as the kayak industry and fishing industry has generally moved in one direction, I feel like Eric, you move away further and further each year, right? As people throw smaller baits, as people use electronics more, I feel like this man is deeper in the woods, deeper off grid, and every time I see him, he's throwing a bigger bait. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eric Goodson. Eric, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's happening, man? You're right, man. I feel like a caveman out here these days, man. Hardly no electronics, big baits, man. Definitely a caveman in today's industry.
Absolutely, man. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man. You've done a phenomenal job for the last when we talk, it's been over 10 years now, right? That you've been in this YouTube fishing, from the bank to kayak fishing, from ponds to rivers and sometimes lakes. It's been over 10 years, right?
Nuts, man. Yeah, definitely started as a bait angler, man. Didn't know a ton. Grinded out there. Got into a little small pelican bass raider thing shaped like a bathtub. And then we actually made it to the kayak scene. Now we're doing rivers, and hopefully next year we do a little bit more ocean stuff as well. So I'm dipping my toe
Awesome.
in that one as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to you know, um, see what else is going to happen in 2026. But guys, for those of you watching, um, I want to before I give Eric, the stage and let him tell you his story and what he's all about. I want to share this quick story with you guys. We met up at the Bassmaster Classic. It was 2022,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
In Tennessee. So obviously we're here in Georgia, and I linked up with these guys. I knew Latrell, and through Latrell, I met Eric, and we were like, "Hey, let's go to the classic and let's fish." I was like, "Awesome!" I was rocking a Vibe Shearwater at the time, fishing mostly lakes. I had floated some like very soft creeks. I mean, like mild, And guys, I'll never forget. We went to the French Broad. The first thing I saw when these guys took me out there was we were look at him laughing. We were putting in at the dam. I looked out, I've never been in this situation. I see white water everywhere. I see rocks everywhere. And I literally see a sign that says, "Beware of alligators in this river." And there I was with my shearwater. I had pulled all my electronics off, and there goes my TV. And and I just remember thinking, man, what have these guys gotten me into? And dude, I was pretty scared. I got stuck on the first shoal, but anyways, it turned out to be an awesome journey, an awesome adventure, and that is where my river fishing obsession started. Right then and there was actually because of Mr. Eric Goodson and Latrell Gaither. So, bro, thank you so much, man. You're the one. I'll always tell you this. You're the one that took me out there and put me in the current, and it was a lot of fun.
Definite adventure, man, and kudos to you, man. That water was ripping through there too.
It
With your
was, man.
first,
Yeah, you
with
guys
your
had me
first river
drop at the
float,
dam.
that was nuts, man. Absolutely, you got in there, you done it though, man. It was definitely an adventure, man. Poor Lou. We've always put Lou through the paces. He has been in some horrible floats with us, from portaging trees to going through the riverbanks, pulling kayaks 150 yards. Lou has been tried and tested, man. We didn't take it easy on Lou.
That's right. That's right. I definitely went through it. So, talking about my first trip on the river, man, take us back to, over 10 years ago. And what got you started with this obsession and what helped create Atypical Outdoors? People don't know this, but you've got apparel, you're working with multiple brands. We travel a lot together, but you have your own travel plans. You go from lake to river to ocean sometimes. Take us back and bring us on that journey, man. What got everything started for you back in the day?
Yeah, so absolutely. As a kid, I always loved to fish. I used to love watching fishing on TV. My granddad was a huge fisherman, but unfortunately, he passed away, so I didn't get to fish much
Mm,
with him. I used to love watching fishing on TV, but I never felt like it was anybody like me on TV. And as I grew up, I played sports, kind of took time away from fishing, but found it after college. The name Atypical came from the point that I would always tell people, "Hey man, I fish," and they'd be like, "No way, man, you don't fish." This was before fishing was cool. You used to be lame if you fish. Like
yeah,
you were a weirdo if you fish. So
yeah,
this was a minute ago. So the name Atypical came from the pretty much stance of me being somebody that people didn't think fish. I tell them I fish, and they'd be like, "You can't fish. You don't look like your typical fisherman." And as I've grown through fishing, from bank fishing, I grew into throwing bigger baits. So it kind of fitted the stigma. And now with river fishing, like I'm throwing these giant swim baits in small creeks, which typically, no shade, but typically people are throwing nair rigs and drop shots and smaller baits. And I'm throwing, everything from a 7-inch swim bait all the way up to like a 9-inch. In rivers and creeks is probably only 60 feet across.
yeah, yeah. And I've seen that. And my question for you is, and for people who are out here that are kayak fishing and you know they're getting they're getting into newer waters or going to new places and doing new things. What was the transition for you? What clicked inside of your mind that said, hey, like, I want to make a switch right now? Because if I go back to your YouTube
Hmm.
and the stuff you used to do back in the day to what you do now, it's a 180.
Right.
It's a whole change. So what was the moment where you were like, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to try to get in these creeks and these rivers." What sparked that first like outing, that first send into the river?
Okay, that would be probably a couple things. I grew to realize, even with pond fishing and fishing small reservoirs, I always like going to new places, and that
Yeah,
was the trigger for everything. I never liked fishing the same spot 50 times. The most exciting thing was going to different bodies of waters and new places. I got exposed to the rivers with friends back home on giant boats and small boats, and I loved it. The next portion of that was I met a guy named Charles. Charles exposed me to river fishing in a kayak, and once that happened, man, I was done. It was a wrap, bro. I
yeah,
only went to fish reservoirs and ponds during bed season, or if the river got blowed out. And once I got my own kayak, all I could think about was fishing the river. I mean, it's seeing new rivers, never knowing what's around the next bend has been the best thing for me. Like that sense of exploring, I almost like that more than catching the fish, man.
yeah, yeah. Let me ask you this. So overall, like as a kayak angler, I love the industry, right? I love what kayak fishing has done. Um, it has it has grown to a point where you can do so many things with a kayak, but at the same time, it's opened the door for so many people to join the sport. For someone like me, we grew up struggling. We grew up barely paycheck to paycheck. And just, man, just getting it out of the mud, bro. Like
Right,
I always dreamed about having a boat, but it was never, and I mean never in the cards for us. Like it just wasn't going to happen. Not even a nice little tricked out John boat to, when I first got my kayak, you know, and where I'm going with this is with the way that everything has changed from that time, right? Where
right,
kayaks used to be simple with a milk crate, a couple of rods. Now you've got, people are running two motors. They've got, electronics on, and I have my own rig like that. You know that. I love that rig, and it has its use and purposes, and I run it in tournaments. But has it been difficult for you watching everyone go one way and you go the other way?
Not for me so much because I fish for the most part rivers and streams. Those are the areas where nature and things still haven't changed quite as much. It
Mm,
doesn't take such fancy electronics.
yeah.
Deeper sonar was a good one for me. It's simple, basic, but many times all you need is a rod, a reel, your kayak, man, and learning to read the river, learning to pick out bends, deep spots, shade lines, just those basic things. When you're fishing a river and a creek is everything, and you don't have to have everything fancy to fish those bodies of water.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true, and I've learned that over time, as I've gone. I think you used to give me a hard time. I'd go out there with 6 rods. Yeah, and then, I started going out there with 5 rods, and then all of a sudden it was, 2 rods and a spinning rod. Now it's all, swim bait, medium heavy, heavy rod, that's it. I'm done. I'm ready for my day on the water.
And as
Um,
you do, man, you give me trash and talk trash to me, man, about my net up front, my rods and everything. The
yeah.
less you have on the river sometime is the better. I mean, I think 3 to 4 rods is about the most you're gonna need on the river. You can probably get away with 2 rods most of the time. But for people, don't forget you got overhangs, you got spider webs, you got everything else. So those rods sticking up and having a ton of accessories can be a pain in the butt at the end of the day on the river.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, staying along that theme, getting into river fishing, and then I'd like to get into the swim baits a little bit later.
Okay.
But I really want to focus here on the river element, and for all of those people that are listening that may want to venture into that. Tell us, what is the number one thing that you're looking for when you're going to explore a new body of water? How is it that you start your research, and what's the first thing you're looking for when you say, "Okay, that's a spot that I want to fish"?
Yeah, so depending on what type of area you're in, whether it's the north, the south, the east, or the west, we all have unique different things in our bodies of water as far as the rivers. But one typical thing stands true. I look for bends. That's a really good starting point for me. Whenever you're fishing a river and you have just straight rivers and there's no bends, there's no action, those spots can be slow areas from us where not a lot of action takes place. The first thing
Right.
I look for is bends. The next thing I look for, if you have rock in your river, is shoals. Shoals change the direction of the water. You have pools that starts to form. So bends, shoals, rocks are key. And using measuring devices, whether it's Google Maps, whether it's on water. Typically, when you first start out, you probably want to float for 4 to 5 miles. I mean, that could be anywhere between 6 to 8 hours, just depending upon how fast you fish. Those are some of the things you want to look at. And as you begin to pick your speed up fishing and fishing faster, you can venture more into those floats. As Lou and we do sometimes from 7 to 13 miles, like in
Yeah.
one. Those are wild, but definitely bends, uh, boulders, shoals. You don't want to fish too many rivers just straight all the way down because you're going to look for the spots where fish can stack up, ambush. Those are key.
Yeah. And I don't want to skip this for those of you, watching and listening. Eric is actually he actually has his ACA, right? ACA certification.
Yep.
So one of the things that, I don't want to skip through this part because I feel like so many times when we touch on these topics, we skip through this part. But guys, safety first always.
Yes, sir.
And Eric went through ACA. So you're certified in that. Give us just a little bit of info on that, how that helped you, and why people may want to go in that direction if they're trying to get into river or creek fishing.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, just to break down, like Lou said, the safety on the river. things like a float plan, a trip plan, making sure to tell people, like I always joke with Lou about, I'm about to head out. I'm headed out at 6. I should be back
Mhm.
at 7 p.m. Making sure a loved one knows where you're going to be at when you're floating on the river. Things happen, accidents do happen. Safety, making sure you have things like a PFD, which is essential. Like, do yourself a favor, guys. They can be expensive, but buy you one that's going to be comfortable so you can wear it all day long. And lastly, paddle strokes. Learning how to paddle is probably one of the most important things for the river, let alone the lake. But as a river fisherman, you really need to know how to handle your kayak, whether it's a sweep, whether it's a reverse stroke. Learning how to paddle is key as a fisherman, especially if you don't have a motor and you're fishing the river.
Yeah, so, guys, I'll leave the link down below, for that, for those of you guys that wanna check that out. Definitely recommend it. I had a buddy, go through it a couple weeks ago, and, he honestly, he didn't think he was gonna learn that much. He fishes the lake a lot, but he actually, he enjoyed it. He got a few key things to take away, and, you know, it's just always best to start in that direction. So, guys, I'll leave that linked down below, like I said. And, you know, once you've getting back to that, deciding where you're going, and, you talk about looking for the bends, the change in water direction as far as your research goes. And I know you do extensive research.
Right.
And I know because a lot of times you do it for me. So a lot of times, I'll reach out and say, "Hey, E, where are we going? What does this look like? What are the shoals? What do the rapids look like?" And then I learn how to do those things as well on those apps. Once you've got that down, what are you looking for next? Where are you finding your takeout, your put in, and stuff like that? And how do you define what's a good place to do it, or not do it?
So typically, it's a lot of scouting. Me, Lou, Latrell from Banks and Eddies. A lot of our floats are actually from bridge to bridge. And what I mean by that is we launch our kayak from a bridge and we float
Mm,
down to another bridge. But before you guys decide to do that, make sure you do your scouting. Make sure you check out the put in and the put out. You don't want to float somewhere and you have cliffs that's 20 feet high and you can't get out the river and the next takeout is 10 miles down the road. Those are things you don't want to do.
yeah,
Um, it's not that's not gonna be good. You might lose a friend. It's gonna be a long day on the river for sure. But
yeah.
lots of scouting. And what was else? What's the question, Lou? I apologize.
No, you're fine. How do you define if it's a good place? Like I know, you had issues with private property
Hmm.
in the past. I believe you were at a bridge, right? You launched from there and then you ran into some private waters and you guys got kicked out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's multiple apps out there on water, different brands you can use to actually find out what's private, what's public. Those are huge things. In Georgia, we have a lot of issues with that. Like once you step out onto the land, it could be private property. Even the riverbed, if you have to walk on it, can be private property. So just try to do your research, do your homework, just scout. And one other thing to kind of touch back to, Lou, before you actually do the float, you want to start checking water levels, cubic feet per
Yeah.
second.
Oh yeah.
It's essential, guys. You can have the best float in the world, you can have the best baits in the world, but if the river's blowed out, the cubic feet per second is too high, it's a done deal. You're
Yeah.
not fishing good that day. I mean, you're just playing around in the mud. So water levels are huge. Just monitoring those up to your trip. And even if you have to go back and look at past data to kind of use it to gauge, well, typically this is high, typically this is low. So knowing the water levels is probably one of the biggest things as far as river fishing.
Would you say that is the biggest thing as far as, how well you fish today? Would you say on the river water levels is the biggest thing?
Yeah, water
Yeah.
level is the biggest thing because you can have an amazing flow as me and Lou did recently about a month ago. Big
Yeah.
epic flow. We hammered a fish, 50, 60 day fish days of fishing. And what did we catch? Two fish?
I think I think we caught 2 fish. Yeah.
It
I
might have
think
been
the
two
2.
fish, not a stellar
Yeah.
day. But water levels absolutely determine everything when it comes to river fishing. One of the most important things, if not the most important thing to pay attention to.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that too, is guys, when you're doing these floats, you got to check if they're dam controlled as well, and if there's a release schedule up top. Because I'm telling you, I've been to some places, and I'm looking at the water as I'm fishing, and I'm like, you know what? This spot was at my ankles like 45 minutes ago. Now it's coming up to like my shins. And that's when I realized, man, this water is moving really fast. I'm like, oh man, they're releasing at the dam. I got to make a move. So because when I go alone, I work my way up with the motor, and then I come back down. And so, like, one of the biggest things for sure for me when I'm out there alone is understanding the dam release. You guys can find those scheduled as well. And you said you use the On Water app, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So definitely a lot of resources that you guys can use. But when you're when you're looking through those processes, how many hours? Because I really want people to understand. So you've caught some great fish in the
Hmm.
last few years. It's all over your social media. Some phenomenal fish, and there's a lot of hype around those moments,
Right.
right? A
Absolutely.
lot of people see those social media highlights, but tell the folks listening about how many hours of research you do and how many trips you take out to a certain float before you're like, okay, I've got this broken down. I know where these fish, and maybe it's improved for you over time, but just generally speaking, how many hours of research, and then how many trips do you have to make before you're like, okay, I've got these fish like locked
Like
down.
out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Before a new float and fishery, man. I mean, on the low end, probably at least 3 to 5 hours of studying on
Okay.
the low end. Um, but I'm gonna flip it for you a little bit. So Lou and I have a really big trip coming up for the Three River Series.
So I,
Coming,
I was about to say, yeah, I was about to say, let's do this one. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Let's do this one.
I mean, we're like 2 weeks out, and I'm at least probably 6 hours in. And by the time we get there, I will be still studying, looking at water levels and everything else. Like when you take a trip where you drive 2.5, 3 hours away, you want to do your research. You want to look at internet websites. You want to look at YouTube videos, any social media websites
Yeah.
in that state. I'm looking through it all just to try to gain all the advantage because we're going 3 miles away, 3 hours away, and we want to put ourselves in the best predicament to catch, really good fish. So I mean, upwards with map study, social media stuff, YouTube, Instagram. I mean, 10 to 15 hours easy, man. And
Yeah.
as far as a local body of water, I would say if I floated it like 4 or 5 times, then I have a pretty good gauge on how good that body of water is. And typically with river fish, the good spots stay the good spots, and those fish usually stay there. So you can, fish a month, come back, and that deep hole usually always has at least one good fish in it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does hold true. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been to a certain stretch and up on the hooch, and there's one section where there's this floating. I forgot what it's called, but it's just this giant piece of styrofoam. It's just caught up in the trees.
Yeah.
And man, I think like the 3 out of the 5 times I've been there this year, there has been a fish on that, like,
Oh,
just
yes.
automatically, automatically. So there are those certain spots where you're right, they're gonna produce a fish. And, but yeah, as far as this upcoming trip, um, you know, it's really difficult, man, to put everything on the line. Like you said, drive 3 hours
Absolutely, man. It's a lot, right?
and yeah, and show up. Walk us through a trip that went down like that for you, where you did extensive work and then you show up, or maybe the river was blown out or something happened. What would you say has been, one of the most challenging ones you've had?
Absolutely. The trip we took you on, Lou, comes to mind. I can't call the creek because it's very small. It's a tributary of a big
Yeah,
river, but it was an absolute nightmare. It's a
yeah,
trip that I probably will never forget. We were so pumped. We were super, super excited. Emotions were really up there. We get there. It's an easy lunch off the side of the road by the bridge. The water looks pretty cool. It's moving. And about quarter mile, half a mile in, it's a freaking nightmare already. We get to our first tree across the road. And this taking it back, guys, these are some things you won't realize until you're actually in the moment. And we didn't
Yeah.
put two and two together. A tornado had came through like 2 weeks prior. So none of these
Yeah.
trees were on Google Map or
Yeah, it
anything.
was that's right, I remember now, it wasn't
Yeah.
updated, that's right.
We
That's
saw
another
two
thing.
trees on Google Maps and we was like, Lou, it shouldn't be too bad. We got two trees. Me and Trey were confident. We get there, guys. It's literally probably 14 trees. We don't even know if we're gonna make it through the float. It was points where, I mean, the water's is up to our chest, and the tree has limbs up here, and we're crawling through the tree to get to the other side of the tree,
Yeah.
reporting, going
This
on.
was February, wasn't it? Wasn't this, winter? This was
We were
winter weather, yeah,
in
we were in
waders.
our waders, yeah, we were in
In
our waders.
waders. Uh,
Yeah.
we had to port, drive our, I mean, push our kayaks probably 150 yards down the bank to get past this a cluster of trees. Yeah, one of the worst trips ever, and we did lots of research leading up to that trip. We were super excited. We thought we were gonna crush the shoalies, and it was an absolute nightmare. I think we caught 3 fish that
3
particular
fish, yeah,
trip. So when you do
yeah.
these off the grid trips, just be prepared. Sometimes things don't always work out of your mind as they are in person when you get out there.
Yeah, I mean, for the folks listening at home, I also wanna add this, there are always whispers of, man, there's this section of river or this body, it's hardly fish, it's got giants, you know?
Yep,
And, I didn't know if you were gonna say that trip or not, but guys, I'll never forget. I'll never forget the guys were like, "Lou, we're gonna take you out here. There's some giant spots out here, some giant shoal bass." And, man, we showed up and it was just an absolute 180, absolute disaster. I think it rained on us too at some point.
we got stories, man. We have
Yeah.
stories.
Oh my goodness. It rained on us. We dragged the kayaks. Um, but yeah, that was an adventure, man. I wouldn't change it. It's one of those things I'll never forget.
Absolutely, and this was happening, guys. I mean, you're exploring, you're going to these unique places. You're going to places that people don't even see. Like we never see people out here on any of these floats.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
a coin toss sometimes, and guys, sometimes we find gold. Sometimes it's trash. I mean,
Yeah.
we have went on some really trash floats, but we got memories. But yeah, they're pretty horrible every now and then.
That's I think would you say that's the biggest difference between the lake and the river? Because I'm 30 minutes from Lanier, right?
Yep,
People, it's a legendary spotted bass lake now. I mean,
absolutely.
you could go there and probably stick a 5 or a 4 pound spot, if you know what you're if you can cover your basics and know what you're doing a little bit, you're a really good angler, you genuinely might run into a 6 pound spot.
Which
You
is
know,
insane.
it's and so people ask me, do you like it? And I do. I do like it. I love going out there, but I haven't been out there since early June, man.
Hmm.
It's a 25-minute drive.
Crazy, right?
And yeah, I haven't been out there. I've been driving to these rivers, this time of the year. And it's like you said, sometimes it's trash. And sometimes it's absolute gold.
Right.
But when it's gold, I mean, it's so special. It's so special. Take us through one of your best trips, as far as, like, what you just mentioned, finding gold. What was that like, and where was that at? Well, you don't have to tell us exactly where
No,
the
no, I'm
juice
laughing. I'm
was, but,
laughing. I'm laughing. I'm laughing because of a funny story. Uh, it kind of relates back to you, like how long and how many trips does it take to know a spot is good? This is
Mhm.
a funny story because uh, me, Banks and Eddie's, and D, we found this river. We did another thing, lots of research, fishing the tributaries. We fish a lot of
Mhm.
tributaries. For you guys who don't know what that is, you have a main water, then you have a creek that comes off of it. That's a tributary. We get to this lunch, and DNR tells us you can't lunch here, and they also tell us there's no particular. shoal bass in this river, our creek. And we were like, man, whatever, man. We'll find a different backup plan. It's another thing, guys. Always have a backup plan for your float, just in case you can't launch at one bridge. Kind of have a backup plan to where you can fish at another bridge further down the float. So we had a backup plan. We went there. This is another trip in January. We had waders on everything, and had an absolutely stellar day. We lost some good fish, but we found the shoalies, which were the goal. We didn't have many places to fish for shoalies because we were kind of new to the game.
Mm.
And you go forward probably 4 or 5 trips, and me and Latrell had an insane day. I'm talking 60 top water eats on a Whopper Plopper.
Did you say
Not
60? You say 60?
60,
60?
60 in one day. And not
Wow.
the small Whopper Plopper. I'm talking the 130.
Yeah,
60
yeah.
different eats.
Yeah, for those of you guys watching, yeah, my boys over here, they don't throw the 90, they don't throw the is it the 105? No, no, yeah, the 105. They only throw the 120. So every time I bust out my 105 Chapo, they're always making fun of me, talking about what's that little blip, 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 blip thing you got over there. I'm like, man, come on now. This is a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
size Chapo. So sorry, man. So 60 top water eats, shoal bass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, these fish didn't hardly receive any pressure. Um, and it's gateways to spots like this. During that particular time frame, it was a huge tree that went across these rivers. And I hate to say it, sometimes rivers being blocked by obstacles are a blessing because most people will just turn
Yeah.
around or they won't float through. So when I say you have to earn these fish, a lot of times you have to because they're blocked by laws, they're blocked by trees, they're blocked by a dam, and most people will be like, let's just turn around. I don't want to deal with it. Us, we're like, bet nobody else is coming back here. Let's
Yeah.
go farther. So yeah, that was probably one of the most epic days. 50 to 60 top water eats, and Latrell caught a 21-inch shoalie. That's like catching a 10 to 11 pound largie, to put it
Yeah.
in frame. And just multiple 18s and 19s throughout the day. Just ridiculous.
What time of the year was that?
Summer. This was like August.
Oh, that was in August.
Yeah, low water.
Oh,
Yep.
nice. Nice. That's
Yeah.
impressive. Yeah. Now we'll shift to shoal bass here in a little bit, right? Because that's his own subject, right? That's its own
It is.
thing. Um, but as far as finding gold, what is your river PB? Because I know, well, first of all, give us your lake or pond PB, because I know you've almost caught a double digit, or you have caught a double digit.
Almost. Almost.
Almost. So what's that one?
So largemouth is 9.46 pounds. That's my
All right.
biggest
So
large.
on a swim bait?
No, that was on a chatterbait, man.
On a chatterbait. Okay. Okay.
Chatterbait was my gateway drug to swim
Yeah.
bait. That was it. The
Nice.
chatterbait changed everything for me as a fisherman. Everything. And then it opened the doors up to bigger baits. And I'm like, man, I'm getting bigger fish off of chatterbait. Then that's where it started.
Nice.
Um,
Nice. I
but
do I do
nine
remember
nine
you
point
saying
four
that.
six. Biggest on a swim bait is 9 pounds. Yep. On
And then
unique
on the river,
on the river, Sholey.
whatever whichever species, your PB, whatever.
Uh, Biggest on the river would be the Sholey, 5.5. Uh,
That's a monster. Did you get the length on that?
22
You
was
kn-
it was
you
22.
know these tiny plastic boat guys, they don't know weight. We don't know weight, man. You gotta give us inches, man.
Like 22 and a quarter to be exact was how big that fish was, man.
That's
So
awesome.
that was
That's
a
that's
great.
my that's my PB Shoaly right there.
Yeah. But
20
Trail
23.
owns us both. So we
Did he
gotta
get a
keep.
23?
Trail had what same length, like 22 and a half. He's got us there, but also his fish was 6 pounds, 8 ounces.
Oh,
Yeah.
sheesh. I do remember that being 6 pounds. Mine mine was 22, 25 or 22.75. I have to go check. I'm horrible with numbers.
Yeah.
Horrible. I think it was 22.25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
On
got
a
one trash fish I want to throw in there too, man. Super cool one. Most people consider it trash, but both in. I have
Yeah,
12.5 pound both in 33 inches.
that's nuts, man.
Yeah, the
That's
thing.
nuts. And by the way, guys, so one of the things with atypical outdoors here, no species is like off limits.
Oh yeah.
Like no, yeah, like I'll be sitting here. It might be like midnight, and he'll send me a text. He'll be like, "Hey, man, let's go look for bowfin down in Florida in like September or something like or October." I'll be like, "Man, I really want to catch a mudfish," or it'll be like, "Hey, man, let's go up to Maryland and let's catch striper like in saltwater." All right, cool. So
Yeah.
just so you guys know where we're at with this, it's just not about bass anymore. And on that subject, switching gears, talking about how to choose a river, finding trash, finding gold, and dialing those areas in. This year, you've been making some changes, right? As
Right. Right.
far as how you've been fishing, what you've been going after, and one of those big things for you, and it's been contagious now for me and a couple other guys, is striper.
Absolutely.
Um, Man, so I'm really excited about this. Walk us through the striper that you're targeting now, that you're going after now, how you're targeting them, and walk us through your top three swim baits that you're using when you're out there chasing them now. Because this has been a lot of fun to watch and be a part of these last few months.
It's been contagious. Another freaking obsession. Unfortunately, like
Where where did it start? Where did it start?
my boy Alex Green. Alex,
Yeah,
if you ever on Instagram, check out Alex Green. He's a complete monster, and then he got
legend.
on a jet boat as well. But that's
Yeah,
a whole other story, man. Alex taught me a lot. Like 95% of what I know about Striper, he's a beast. But it started there, and guys, I have donated so many baits to Striper. I have been cutting my teeth, whether it's been $150 bait, whether it's been $180 bait.
mm,
I have learned striper in the river, especially in these small rivers, they're
yeah,
really hard to control. You can not believe me, it's okay, but if you come out there with 25-pound fluoro and you're in a river that's anywhere from 60 feet across to 120 feet across, um, you have to control that fish, turn his head almost in the first 1 or 2 seconds, because if he just turns his head any and go into wood, it is done.
yeah,
Especially if you're in a kayak, it's gonna pull you right there into it as well. I've lost swim baits to a striper. The striper's on the wood, and you just come out with nothing. No swim bait, no nothing, and you lose the striper and you lose your bait and everything. Um, I've learned, fishing with Alex, fishing with others. I now use 80, 85-pound braid. Sounds insane, but
straight braid, right? Straight braid.
braid, yeah, that's what I've been.
Even in crystal clear water.
Yeah, yeah, straight.
Madness. That's a sin. That's a sin. I'm doing it too now, so it doesn't matter.
It is, man. But unfortunately, in some of these bodies of water, and I'm still learning, guys. I may change things up and go to like a little bit of 50-pound fluorocarbon or something like that. I am still learning. I'm not a pro at this, as far as the striper thing. But being in a kayak and being in a small body of water, you just have to turn them so quick, and you have to have strong hooks, strong split rings, because you're applying nothing but pressure. Drag is almost locked down. So it's a battle. It is literally a battle. They hit it at the boat and just so
Yep.
it's fun.
Yeah,
It's
and I
addictive.
yeah, and I love that attitude, man, where we're sitting here on a podcast. I'm asking you these questions, and you're like, guys, I'm still learning.
Oh yeah.
And man, that is so key, man. That is so important, and how you want to approach fishing at all times. So, as far as you donating these swim baits and your setup,
Mhm.
like I mentioned before, walk us through your top three swim baits this year for striper, and then for people that are listening, any special mods that you've got, split rings, treble hooks, which rod you're running, your reel. Break that down for us, and for those that want to get into swim bait fishing and start targeting these bigger, aggressive monsters in current.
Yeah, absolutely. Top three lures I've been throwing for striper. First one is probably the BGC 9-inch shag glide. Um, you can chop it counter, and also you can do a wag glide with it. It's a fairly large swim bait. I mean, probably between 5 to 6 ounces, I would imagine. I don't know exactly, but it's around 9 inches. The next one is the trick shad. Really great bait for chopping. 9 inches, a decent bit lighter than the BGC. And also, I've been throwing the Papa Pete. The Papa Pete is a good one at a decent price range. If you want to get into fishing for striper, you don't want to spend 150, 180. The Papa Pete is a good alternative. Far as the reel, I use a 300 size reel. It's important, guys. The reason why is you have to have the ability to draw up slike in your line when you're using a glide bait. When you get it to chop back and forth, you need to be able to take up slike. Also, you need to be able to turn the fish to paddle pressure as well. And the bigger reels typically have a stronger drag system because you're dealing with a bait that's 5 to 6 inches. I mean, sorry, 5 to 6 ounces. You need
Mhm.
85-pound braid that's going to take up more space. And you need a rod that's going to be able to handle that load. I use like the Dobbins Bullshad Edition. Um, so you need some pretty beefy equipment when you're throwing a swim bait that's 9+ inches big. I'll probably actually venture into like the 11 and 12-inch swim baits next year as well too. Because right now
Yeah,
I pursue this. I'm trying to get that 25-pound plus, and I want to do it in a kayak to our paddleboard. That's the goal right
yeah,
now. I need the big girl.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of big baits, um, I visited. For those of you guys listening, if you know anything about bullshad swim baits, Mike, he's about an hour and 15 minutes from us. It's almost 2 hours with this awful Atlanta traffic. But, you know, I went to visit him the other day and we were talking striper. And, he's been seeing some of the stuff we've been doing. And man, he showed me this one bait. And he's a big guy
Yep.
and he put it across his entire forearm. Bigger than, let me just put it like this, it's longer than 12 inches.
I
And
almost
he was
said a
like,
joke, bro, but I didn't say it,
I said, Mike, I said, what are you doing with that? And he said, you know how he is, man. He's a funny guy. He's a
man.
good guy. And he goes, man, I'm tired of catching these 11, 12 pounders. Yeah,
And me and Lou will be celebrating 11 and
that's
12
right.
pounders.
That's right.
A
That's
dink
right.
to my buddies.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, guys, when we went to Tennessee, we've got the footage. He's got it on his Instagram page. But tell us about that monster you saw, that ghost in Tennessee, man. Actually, why don't you talk to everybody a little bit about how you set that trip up, what we were looking for, what the goal was, and then what you saw?
Yeah, we got the opportunity to fish a super cool river in the prime time for big striper. In that same trip, we have began to learn what type of baits to use. I was using a bigger swim bait, 9+ inches, casting at trees. Stripers love wood; they love moving current. And I came across this very beginning of the bend, the very front of the bend. It's a giant tree laying sideways in the water, and I'm probably about 15 feet from the bank, and I lob my glad bait out there, and all of a sudden comes a submarine of a fish. Uh, a fish so big that it's almost hard to believe. Literally, the head of the fish was like that big, and I'm just seeing it
Bigger, bigger than my head.
just swimming back and forth like that.
Yeah,
The freaking fish was a monster. At that point, guys, we hadn't seen many fish, and I didn't even care if I freaking caught it. Just to see a fish of that caliber was insane.
yeah.
And it just like swims off right at my kayak, and I just start laughing out of control because the fish was so big. I estimate this striper to be between like 40 to 45 pounds. It was one of the biggest fish I ever seen. And it just came out like it owned the river and just swam right behind my bait. My bait was 9 inches and it looks like a fish stick compared to this fish. Just
Yeah.
insane. I don't know what I would have did, Lou, if I would have hooked the fish, man. I probably would have still been in that tree in Tennessee on the side of the
I
river.
don't know.
I would have
I
went
don't
for a
know what
ride, bro.
I don't know what any of us would have done, bro. And then, the kicker to it all is I ended up catching my PB as a 14 pounder, right, on a chartreuse,
Yep.
bottom chartreuse Bass Mafia jerk bait. A little bit deeper diving, and we had given up on not given up. I don't want to say given up. We had been rained on. The fishing had been tough. And again, it's just one of those things. Are you going to find trash or gold?
That's it.
And man, there I was just twitching the jerk bait, pop, 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 slammed it under Eric's kayak. You know, that 14 pounder, man, that was, I mean, I think, no, I don't think I know. That was probably the funnest fight I've had all year
Oh yeah.
for sure. And then, guys, we get to the boat ramp and we're talking to this old guy, we're talking to a good old boy at the boat ramp. He was like, what, 50 or 60 or something like that?
Absolutely. Yep.
What did he catch, man? We said, what'd you catch? Did you catch anything? And we were like, yeah, we caught a 14 pounder. I'm hyped. We're excited. And obviously, this man's been out there and he said, yeah, I caught what do you say? A little fella, a little guy. He's like,
4 pounds.
34 pounds. Hold on. On 8 pound mono, I think.
Yeah.
8 pound mono. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes
On
you get
8 pound.
humbled. You get humbled by the fish guys real quick, man. I mean, we spending hundreds of dollars on swim baits, man. 85-pound braid and a dude in overalls, man, and a John boat that was cheaper than any of our kayaks. Catches the
Yeah,
34-pounder,
that's
and
right.
it's just the nature of the beast, man. But that trip goes down as probably one of my favorite trips. It was an
Oh,
absolute
yeah.
grind, guys. We caught literally 2 fish in 2 days, but they were the best 2 fish ever. Um, Between a
Yeah.
muskie and a striper, you know, insane
Yeah,
trip.
that was amazing. Super amazing. Guys, if you're listening, um, I definitely gotta say this. If you like tiny plastic boats, if you like to adventure, like, listen, just go camping and take a river trip with the boys for a couple days. I mean, it has really changed how we see a lot of things and how we fish and do life. Honestly, would you agree with that, Eric?
Oh, 100%, man. 100%. The places we go, you hear people talk about seeing and never seeing an eagle. Man, we see eagles every other week.
Yeah,
We see it all, man. You know,
yeah, yeah.
bless.
It's been amazing. It's been amazing. And here's the deal: we'll have to bring you back in early November because we're going back. We're
Oh,
still We were chasing striper this weekend and some other species, but we're going to South Carolina next to chase striper again and other species, and then we're going to back to Tennessee in October to a few different areas to do it all over. And I think Tennessee will be the longest stretch. Yeah, we'll be up there for quite some time. Listen, my wife has given me permission. Boys, I've been given permission to fish for like 4 days. I mean, just back to back to back to back. I was like, let's go. Let's go. Say no more.
where our arms fall off.
That's right. That's how I felt the other day, man. Um, but yeah, man, incredible memories and just adventures, dude. It's so new every time.
That's
Um, You know, you said that was a special trip. Would you say what would be the most special trip for you personally?
the most special trip personally.
Yeah, on the river, like maybe you didn't catch a bunch of fish, or just the one that kind of just you really enjoyed it, you really connected with.
I'll probably have two. I got two. I got two.
Okay, what you got?
Every trip is the same way, bro. These special trips, you remember, sometimes it may not be the biggest fish. The first one is going to be when I caught my PB show bass. We were going for striper, bro. We threw glad baits
Yeah,
all day for striper. Not one follower from a striper. My boy Alex said, "You ever threw a jig?" And I was like, "I throw a jig every now and then, but not much." He
yeah,
tags one on, throws it out, and hooks a 20-inch shoalie. And I'm like, man, I have never seen a 20-inch shoalie at that point. And he had a giant follower that was just as big as that. We go throughout the day, man. Nothing, nothing. Then he picks off another 3 pounder. I hadn't caught a fish and we're like 7 hours in. Headed
Wow.
back. We're floating back now, man, and I come across a giant boulder in the river. I'm reeling my jig back to the boat, man, and out of the boulder, behind the boulder comes like a speeding bullet at me, and it's a huge bass. I drop the jig, it falls down, the fish beelines down, and I set the hook on it, and it goes insane. And that's how I caught my PB show bass, man. I literally saw it follow my jig all the way in and dropped it down on his head, and it ate it at the boat.
Yeah, you gotta love that, man. You gotta
One,
love that. That's just
one of the most insane eats ever. It was nuts,
man.
and then we celebrated, hugged. And you know, like on those trips, it was raining. I think it was kind of rainy, nasty. Nothing happened, But we caught three big fish on one trip. The next trip has to be the muskie in the Tennessee series.
Yeah.
You
Dude,
know,
take us through that one, man. Like I said, guys, there's no species is safe. So take us through the muskie, man, because that one was special for me as well.
the muskie was a wild one. To kind of set the scene, we wanted to go to Tennessee to catch big striper and a muskie. The fish are 10,000 casts. And we get there, we're just going back and forth because the river, we talk about water levels, the river is muddy. This particular river is usually crystal clear. You could see most of the fish before they even bite your lure. And we got the gas. It was grim looking. Like it stained almost chocolate. I mean, this
No
was
visibility, like no visibility, none.
none. Like
Awful.
a black bait, you won't see it until it actually got to your kayak. So it was looking super grim. And we have got poured on with rain on this particular trip, man. And, I'm just kind of out in front this time. I come down a shoal. On the right side was like the perfect area. It was a eddy, and it was a tree in the eddy. And I cast out there, and it was kind of like a blur. It was like boom, and I was like, okay, that's a fish. And I set the hook, and I'm like, muskie! I got a muskie! And I reeled it, and I see it like turn sideways, and I'm like, holy cow. I would say something else, but I'm being professional. I was like, holy cow, that's a muskie, man. And then, as Lou always picks on me about my kayak, my net is stuck, so I can't get the net to work right, man.
Notorious. Notorious for having his net stuck in the most critical of situations. My man is a hammer, big bass catching machine, but notorious for the net being stuck.
So we got to work on that. Hey,
We got to work on that, bro.
and I called them over, man. They helped me out. They netted. We're in the kayaks drifting down, trying to get to the shore. It was pandemonium, but one of the sweetest catches I probably ever had. Kind of was in a daze when it all happened because you grind. I mean, like this trip, we didn't sleep any.
No,
We only
no.
caught like what one or two fish the day before. It got rained on. Then we got rain on this trip. The odds were stacked up against us. It went from being clear to muddy water, and to catch that fish is just fulfilling because all we had went through.
That was a special moment, man, for sure. I definitely recommend everybody tries to catch at least one muskie in their lifetime. Because when I saw that strike on that Chapo, man, I about lost my mind, dude. I
Yeah,
about lost my mind. That was insane. And when I first started fishing, man, and I don't think, man, I I'm not too critical of how, like, if you want to catch bass, that's phenomenal. And I love that. Like, dude, there's some people that they love fishing the same spot, and I think that's great. You know, they're happy. But man, there's something so special about targeting these unique species. Um, whether they get to be like the striper, 40 pounds, or those long special muskies, or it could be a Coosa bass, man. Coosa bass usually don't get longer than 15 inches, but every time I catch one, I'm like, man, this thing is beautiful.
absolutely,
I definitely recommend, guys, if you're listening. One of the things that's so special about rivers, they've got a lot of different things going on, and it can be a lot of fun.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Even just going down shows if you have them, like little rapids, like that's just a
yeah,
whole beast of its own. Learning how to
yeah,
navigate that stuff. So it's always
yeah.
adventure. You're always moving. The water's moving. The opportunities are there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on the river this past week, man. I called you and texted you in the middle of it, but man, I caught shoal bass, stripe or not striper. I saw about 20 striper follow my glide. It was frustrating, but still so much fun. I literally saw about 20 striper follow the glide bait. Caught largemouth, spotted bass, you know, and I was like, where, it's just really hard to get that on a lake down here, you know?
Yeah.
It's really challenging to get something like that. I was like, man, this is amazing. Like to just be able to do this float and catch 4 different species and then maybe uh a striper. Like, man, that's so much fun. So yeah, it's rivers are special, man.
And I think far as Georgia, not including Lanier, like our rivers are better than our
Yeah,
lakes. I would
I
say.
think so, man. I think so, but you know what? We've got, and if you're from Georgia and you're listening, please chime in. Please comment, let us know what you think because we've got Lake Lanier,
Yep.
you know, impressive. Lake Hartwell, hey, many a great tournaments have been had there. We've got Clark's Hill, um, you know, which they're all now spotted bass lakes for the most part, you know.
Yep.
We've got some phenomenal fishing. We've got Lake Seminole down South Georgia. So so for you to sit here and make that statement, that's a strong statement. I agree with you.
Yep.
I agree with you. That's a strong statement, man. And I think rivers are really slept on,
They are.
especially here in the Southeast, just in general.
Yep. And one thing I would say that's special about Georgia is our reservoirs. Our reservoirs
Yeah,
pump out some pretty amazing fish, and
yeah,
they're slept on.
yeah,
The big lakes get a lot of credit, but Georgia has some amazing reservoirs. If you
yeah.
know, you
Some
know.
great, yeah, yeah, yeah. If you know, you know. Some great largemouth reservoirs. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Um, Many a giant have been caught out of those places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But man, before we log off here, before we head out, um, tell everyone what kayaks you've been in, what you're using, what you recommend, and you know, walk us through walk us through your setup and walk us through the baits you generally. I know what you show up with, but
Hmm.
let everyone know what baits you're taking and you know, as far as why you make that decision. And you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. We fish long enough, but tell everyone what kayaks you're in, the setup you have for your kayak, and then which combos you're taking out there, which baits.
Okay.
G-
If you want to,
Generally speaking, for bass. Generally speaking, but for bass.
yeah, if I'm fishing any river for the most part, in most places I go to, you can count on me pretty much having three different baits. One's gonna be a worm, a bottom bait, Texas rig, probably a sensei worm. The next one's gonna be a chopo or whopper plopper for my top water bites, and then the next one's gonna be a glad bait. Like those are my three setups that I would take anywhere around the country and feel pretty confident. I may downsize a glad or upside a glad or maybe have an extra one more rod for a bigger and a smaller glad bait or swimmer. But those are my setups. Far as kayaks for the river, I've been in the Shoaly, which is a great kayak, and I've been in the Bonafide. They both are amazing. Um, one's more stable. One moves a little bit quicker, but they're both phenomenal for the river. I like to stay light. I don't typically carry a motor, and the reason why is I have to pull my kayak sometimes across shoals,
Hmm.
across trees, and sometimes any bit of extra weight can make a challenge in these off the grid areas. So I try to stay as light as possible when I'm on no bodies of water.
How important is it to be in shape for these trips?
It's super important, man, for my
Lord.
answer, man. And the reason why is, I mean, you're literally pulling your tree. Sorry, you're literally pulling your kayak across the tree. And the worst part of all is when you're at a bridge. and it's a straight up embankment. You got sand. You have a kayak with gear that's over 100 pounds, and you're literally doing like rows to get it up. And you have to have a pretty good ability to be in shape and strong. It requires some hard work. I mean, I think Luke could speak on it. He's been to some of these places,
Yeah,
and
yes, I can. Yeah,
yeah, after you go 10 miles, and then you got a embankment to get your kayak up, and then you got to drag your kayak 100 yards from the river to where you parked at. You're tired.
yeah,
You'll go home and you'll sleep good, cause
and it's a 2 hour drive home usually. Hour and a half the minimum, but it's usually about. I don't think I will say this, man. Man, I can't believe I still river fish, bro. For real, because you know how easy it is to just go to Lanier and just back the trailer into the boat ramp, go do my thing, you know, hit my spots, come back, hey, go home. But
yep.
man, there's just I don't know, man. What do you think it is, bro? That's so I know we've talked about a lot of things, but what do you think it is that just keeps us coming back even when our bodies literally get beaten up and our minds are like exhausted and we're just like, man, we just had a tough day. Why do we keep coming back, man?
I don't know, man. I think it's like primal, like the sense of exploring, um,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
unknown. And
Yeah.
I hate to say this because I shouldn't say it, man.
Say it, man.
But
Say it.
the more dangerous it is, the more it kind of makes you feel alive. I know that sounds
Mm,
so bad, but when it's kind of scary,
yeah.
it makes you feel alive. Almost a sense of like, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of here, man. This we did a number on this one. Like when you get in those situations and you be like, God, man, what did I get myself into? Those are the trips that I remember, man. More than anything,
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
than the fish catches sometimes too, was the sense of exploring. Like we overcame something super challenging. You go away either better friends or worse friends after a trip
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And for us, a lot of times we became better friends.
That's right. Um, I'll say this and then, we'll get to our closing thoughts. But for you folks listening at home, or wherever you're tuning in from right now, we had a trip a few weeks ago. Um, and this is, man, I guess, I don't know. It's just a moment to be transparent with everybody listening, and I'm okay with it. But we had a trip a few weeks ago where the water was blown out, and it was supposed to be a spectacular day of fishing. Rained like crazy on us. We showed up. The water was brown. And it was ripping. I mean, for me, it was ripping. I was like, guys, I'm not taking a motor today. I want to have control of the kayak. No motor, no battery, no weight. And for me to do that, if you know me, you know that I love my motor on the river. Would you agree, bro? Like
We joke about that.
Eric,
Yeah,
that's right. They're always making fun of me and talk about how I don't know how to paddle. But I'm not gonna lie, I love my motor, man, and I like to fish fast. And it was so bad, I was like, I'm leaving this thing. We didn't catch any fish, but we got to this really big shoal, man. And not to try to get too sappy or anything, but I had been going through a really tough time in life. Just it's just been a hell of a journey, man. Like the
absolutely.
last year, I always communicate that on social media. Quitting the job, doing this now, like I was having a tough time, man. And dude, it's like you said, it's like the experience, the thrill, the excitement, the danger. I used to walk those shoals, but today I had no choice but to face it. The water was so high. And dude, I went through those shoals. And I remember Trail went before me. And I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm gonna be really honest with all the boys right now. I mean, I started tearing up. I started like when I made it through those shoals, um, it was kind of like so symbolic to what was happening in my life and my struggles and my growth on the river. That's one of the things that keeps coming back. Somehow it always ties back into what's happening in my personal life. Like for me, whether it be mentally, spiritually, dude, it always just look, it just lines up. And it's those moments, man, that I'm like, okay, it's not just about the fish, but this is why I do this as well. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Because we had some struggles, man. Like you guys would never know it, but man, what was last year? Me and Lou was at AdCast. We both didn't have jobs. Like
That's right.
probably
Yeah.
no money, no jobs at AdCast, bouncing from booth to booth, smiling from ear to ear, trying to make it happen, man. And
Yeah.
it's been a hell of a ride. So
It's been a hell of a ride, bro. It's literally life is literally like the river, man. Bends, fast water, changes in water. Like you never know what's around the next bend. Like how
100%.
many times has that happened to us? So, man, it's been such a pleasure to have you on, man, for the first show back. You know, thank you for being here, and I can't wait to get back here in November and talk about, you know, hopefully some PBs from South Carolina and Tennessee.
25-pound striper. Yeah.
That's it, man. That's it. I need a 20 pounder. But tell everyone at home, everyone listening, where can we find you? Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Where can we find you? And what's the best way to connect with you and your journey and everything that's going on with you?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. You can find me at Atypical Outdoors on Instagram, on YouTube. If you want to reach out to me, best bet, shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'll get back at you.
Awesome. Well, man, Eric, Mr. Atypical Outdoors, thank you so much. We appreciate you, man. And it's been a pleasure to have you. And man, I can't wait to see what the future holds for you and for the rest of these adventures we're about to go on.
It's gonna be wild.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our episode tonight. And my hope and desire is that you've taken something away from it or you've just enjoyed the overall conversation with a fellow kayak angler. You guys make sure to check out Eric Goodson out. You can follow him at Atypical Outdoors. I'm going to link all of his information and my own down below so that we can connect. If you have any comments, any questions, feedback, guys, always leave it down below. It is so important to us. Thank you so much for tuning in to Kayak Fishing Weekly as a part of the Serious Angler Network. My name is Luis Delgado, and I'll see you on the next one. And I hope you get to send it this week.